Hey everybody, Hushi here at Biddy House. Once again, I am making a constitutional comment because we've got constitutional issues here in the United States of America. So this week, in his latest act of political theater, heavy on the theater, Donald Trump decided to proclaim that he is going to rename the Department of Defense the Department of War. And then Pete Hegseth waxed poetically about how our military is the most lethal fighting force in the world, and as an Army veteran, I'm not going to argue with that. That is not up for debate. The issue there is that they're saying the quiet part out loud. If we call it the Department of Defense, it exists, pretty much it's implied in the name that it's there to defend America and Americans. If we rename it the Department of War, then it can be used offensively against America and Americans. So I see three face value problems with this. The first one, where's the feasibility study? You're supposed to tabletop these things before you present them to the public. How much is it going to cost to update all of the outdoor signage, all of the indoor signage, wayfinding, door imprints, etc., DD forms, DD manuals, DD ID cards, all of the electronic resources with the Department of Defense references in them all around the world, not just here in America? Where is the feasibility study? How much money is going to be wasted on this? Point number two, yes. Until the National Security Act of 1947, we did have a War Department, and then it was abolished in favor of creating the Department of the Army, the Department of the Air Force, and together with the Department of the Navy, these three organizations were brought in together under the umbrella called the National Military Establishment, the NME. Probably not a great acronym. Anyway, in 1949, the NME was renamed by Act of Congress to the Department of Defense, and that's where we get to point number three. I learned this on Schoolhouse Rock. Evidently, Donnie and Pete don't know this. The only thing that can change an act of Congress is another act of Congress or a constitutional amendment. An executive order, rule by fiat, has absolutely zero effective authority whatsoever to change an act of Congress. So Donnie can nickname the Department of Defense whatever he dang well pleases. He could call it Donnie's Dastardly Bullies if that was his whim. He certainly wants to use them that way. But it would only be a nickname. Again, an executive order has zero effective authority to change an act of Congress. So rather than trying to distract us with another theatrical proclamation or some pet project, redecorating, who knows what, and rather than trying to distract us with the crisis of the week, Donnie, for heaven's sakes, just release the Epstein files.